transform that dark spot, making the mud into the lotus. And we should not try to go back to that corner, dark corner, where the fumes of suffering of the past is always projected. And you can help a person in that situation by inviting him or her to get out and learn how to be in the present moment. And consciousness is also collective consciousness. If you happen to move to a neighborhood where people are very angry, violent, fearful, you are going to consume a lot of toxins. We know that when anger and fear and despair become a collective energy, it's very dangerous. And there are neighborhoods that are full of anger and fear and despair. And if you wake up and realize that you are in such a neighborhood, you have to pull out as quickly as you could. You have to protect yourself. You have to heal yourself first before you can go back and help them. But the collective energy of hate and anger is very destructive. And therefore, that kind of food, collective consciousness, we have to be aware. We have to consume. When we come to a retreat like this, and as we hear the bell, we practice mindful breathing, mindful smiling, allowing mindfulness, concentration, and compassion to arise. We generate that collective energy of compassion and peace, which are good for us to consume, good for the children to consume. But when we happen to be in a group full of anger and fear, that collective energy is very toxic. And the best way, and maybe the only way to help them, is to come back with the Sangha. So a collective energy of mindfulness and of peace, of compassion, can heal people. He had done something horrible. He had killed 5 children. That day, one of his friends was killed in an ambush. So he went home with a lot of anger. And the next day he came with a bag of sandwiches. And he put explosive in the sandwiches, in the place, in that village where his companion was killed. He wanted to retaliate. And he hid it himself. And 5 children came out from the village. They discovered the sandwiches so delicious. And they were eating. And after having eaten the sandwich, they cry. They react. He survived the war and went back to America. And from that day he could not sleep. He saw 5 children always in his dreams and in his daily life. And every time he found himself sitting with children in one piece, in one room. He could not bear it. He has to run out of the room right away. Until one day he learned there was a retreat reserved for war veterans. He came and he practiced. And one day he had the opportunity to tell people about his suffering. He had not been able to tell the story to anyone except his mother. His mother tried to help. My son, that's the things that happen in a war, but that is not enough to help him. So in one of our sitting and listen deeply, because of a lot of silence and compassion offered by many of us, most of us were Vietnamese. Direct or indirect victims of the war. He was not able to speak out until one day he was able to tell us the truth. David, you have killed 5 children. But you are still young. You can use your time and energy in order to save 5 children. If you have killed 5 children in the past, today, tomorrow, after tomorrow, you can help save 5, 10, 15 children. Children are dying every day, everywhere. And some of them die just because they need 1 tablet of medicine. And there are many things you can do in order to save several dozens of children every day. Why stay there and cry and hate yourself? Do something. And I gave him the will, the desire, the willingness. That is kind of food called a volition, a compassionate action. And after the talk, he was released, and he began to do what Thầy suggested him to do. So insight is very important. If you cannot accept us, we have to practice looking deeply and to see the past, to see the future in the light of no self. And the path of liberation will open in front of us, and transformation can take place.